is what you're missing, though. There are Life with Derek cupcakes.
Very official.
That would have been hard to get in FedEx.
It's beautiful.
It's awesome.
Okay, so we are now streaming again. So,
hi everyone.
hello everyone. We have our special guests here with us.
Yes.
We have, this is such an honor for us, like truly. We have Daphne Ballon. If you guys want to raise your hand as we kind of go down the line.
Yeah.
We have Christina Jennings here. Also, if you guys didn't know, Daphne Ballon created Life with Derek. No big deal, whatever.
That's fine.
Christina Jennings is the CEO of Shaftesbury. And we have Jeff Biederman down here, who is a producer and writer on Life with Derek. And he honestly writes some of the best episodes, if I do say so myself.
And Daphne as well, of course.
Yes, of course. It's like, we call you guys the Holy Trinity. So, yes. And we have Agnes. Is your last name pronounced Augustine or Augustin? I just want to make sure I say it right. Okay, Augustine. Nice. Okay, yes. And you are the president and CEO of Shaw Rocket Fund. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, I want to. Oh, sorry. Go for it.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I would love for you to expand upon your role and kind of tell everyone your role with Life with Derek.
Oh, well, I had the privilege of through the Rocket Fund to invest in the entire series, actually, of Life with Derek. And so we've been a partner with Shaftesbury for many years. And I have to say that it's one of the shows that we're very proud that we have our logo on it, because we're able to provide the support, and also, and again, working in partnership with a fabulous production company and a fabulous team. So very proud to be an investor in the show.
That's awesome. And we hear you are the reason we have it in the States. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, we would not have been able to watch the show.
Yeah,
that, so.
yeah, we're state locked
and then
over
this
here.
wouldn't have been.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
And we wouldn't be friends, which
yeah,
and
it's a butterfly effect for sure.
Look, it's probably not often that you get the opportunity to meet a funder of a program. And I just want to say, Agnes, I can say that without her funding, Life with Derek would not have got made. And I remember, it was, I think we started shooting, if I've got this right, was it the fall of 2024, I think?
You mean 2000?
2004.
I was going to say.
Yeah, it was
just yesterday. It was incredible.
Oh my God, I don't know time work. And so we went on air 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then Agnes, we won, which was at the time for our company. And I think, Daphne, you would agree.
Absolutely.
That we won the Rocket Prize in 2008. And that prize was, again, all because of Agnes. And it recognized around the world the best of children's family content in the world. And I remember, Agnes, I remember so proudly us getting that award. It was massive.
It absolutely was. Such an honor.
It was so I just want the fans to know that this woman has truly been instrumental in many of the shows that you probably grew up on. Agnes helped fund. And she's still in there today, funding children's and family TV and feature films. And without her, I think producers would say the same. We wouldn't get our shows made. So
that's amazing, and that's so important.
Thank you.
That context.
Thank you. Oh my God, that's. And I just want to go back to saying that my job is so great because I get to partner with great producers and creators of content. It's a beautiful partnership. So I'm very proud of this. And I want to say about the Rocket Prize, which was one of our prizes that we had for 10 years, where we had international juries and involved in selecting shows, but the winner of that show was selected by the audience. So I just want to be, that's really important to say. That Life with Derek was chosen as the top show from the audience. It wasn't a jury of people that decided, sometimes how award shows go. So we were very proud of Life with Derek. It deserved absolutely to win.
Definitely. Yeah, Life with Derek has really touched people in a way we haven't seen a lot of TV shows do. So.
And thank you so much for all of that information, and thank you so much for what you've done.
Yeah, it was so cool to hear.
Yes, we are so happy that it was able to get made, because we have had so much, just joy from this show,
For sure.
obviously, and we know the fans have, and everything like that. So just appreciate it so much.
For sure.
Does
anyone
Yeah,
like? I
everyone
mean,
else wanna
should we go,
expand
Jeff,
on-
next? Do you want to kind of go deeper into your role with Like the Derek?
Sure. My role was to pick, somehow be lucky enough to work with like the smartest women I could find, and then just ride on their coattails until success happened. But really, I mean, this show was just a dream come true, and I, we started writing it, Daphne and I, we just wanted to tell real stories about family. And Daphne will talk about more about her family, but I grew up in a crazy house with 5 kids. It wasn't a blended family, but I think everyone in the house was so different. It felt blended. And so I think this was, obviously the casting is, that's the lightning in the bottle of any great TV series. And you can't predict that chemistry, but in terms of, writing all the episodes with Daphne, and every episode, no matter whose name was on it, Daphne ultimately was the one who said, yeah, this is good, or yeah, this is not going on television.
Like I'm a control freak, Jeff?
Yes, in a good, as one needs to be to create this kind of quality content.
True.
But it never felt like work. It felt like we were playing, and I grew up watching all the sitcoms from way before you were born in the 80s. And, that was my pop music growing up, and shows like Family Ties and Cheers and The Cosby Show before he was problematic. But, those were my comfort shows, and I would turn on the television, and it would, whatever anxieties I had as a young person, it just sort of went away. And the idea that this show for so many people can have that kind of, connection is something nobody on this takes for granted, because I've made a lot of shows, and I don't have a lot of sweatshirts 20 years later. The occasional, wristband, maybe, like a towel, but nothing like this.
Right.
And I would say the writing process really was, once we know who these characters sounded like, we wanted to tell real family stories, exaggerated for television, and then the magic of the cast. And it's really not that simple, but this show was kind of magic.
Definitely.
Jeff and I were match made by Shaftesbury. I didn't know Jeff before this.
Okay.
And his main qualification was that he was obviously very funny and came from a family of 5. And I came from a family of 5. And I was the eldest sister, which may be kind of obvious. And we wanted to do a story about, also we were just lucky. Those were the days when you grew up in larger families. And my comfort shows, because I'm a little bit older than Jeff, were Brady Bunch and Partridge Family. And, family life could be stressful. And then watching those shows, it was like Jeff said, it was just a relief. And you felt like problems were resolvable. And also the role that the comedy based on where we are in the family, like the eldest is the eldest, the second is the second, the baby is the baby. And then we made it a merged family. But we really thought a lot about what it's like to be the eldest or the middle or the youngest. And and then we had the privilege of growing with these characters. We grew as writers, and as they got older, and they had input too. Mike wrote some of the stuff, and Ashley was brilliant, obviously. So it was just a really good process. Jeff and I did a lot of the writing, just the 2 of us. There were other writers, but this was a very small story room compared to most sitcoms. And that was because Christina, in her wisdom, would get us writing way ahead of production. Often when you do a show, you're writing as you're going, but we would have like 10 scripts written before we even went into production. So it just made us smarter, I think.
Yes, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
Love that. That kind of ties into one of our first questions, was kind of like how the show came to be. And I think that being in a family of 5 for both of you definitely helped that, I'm sure. So. And did you guys want to, like, Daphne and Christina, did you guys want to, explore your roles a little bit more for the people who are tuning in?
Yeah, Daphne, why don't you talk about you? The woman who created the show. I mean, this is as Jeff said, every show needs a leader. Every show needs a person who's got the vision for the show and hangs on to it constantly. And that was Daphne. And, that's what she gets the creative by credit, because it is her show.
Well, but what was really interesting, because I'm a strong personality in my way, but Christina is very involved creatively. And I think you had some key input that I would say really helped us take off. And I was thinking about that this morning. One was that you let us do this without a laugh track, which is huge, right?
Yes.
But then in order to not have a laugh track, we had to come up with other ways. So we had really good composer. We had Ron Prue, who wrote that amazing theme song. And then Christina also wanted that to camera at the beginning. It used to be a voiceover from Casey. And Christina was like, that's not very interesting. You should do it. And we're like, okay. And she was absolutely right.
That's awesome.
Really made a difference. And then the other thing, which was the interstitials, which were exhausting when we developed them.
They were exhausting because we were trying. I mean, we were, this was I like to call it the little show that could. We really didn't have enough money to make season 1. We didn't. Mm-hmm. And, we went out and filmed that first season in Newfoundland because they were going to give us some money because we were going to come out and help train up some crews. So we got a little extra money. So our entire cast and a whole bunch of us had to go out. Well, Newfoundland is lovely on the east coast of Canada. And we had to go with multi-cameras because and none of us had really done multi-camera. We had one director. I mean, it really was. And in any bit of television, you're finding yourself as you do the work. That's what you're doing. You're finding it because Daphne has a vision and then she hands that to, say, she and Jeff writing a script. So now her vision changes a bit. Mm-hmm. And then you hand it to the director. And in season 1, that was all Ron Murphy, who's a wonderful director. He now has a vision. And then you bring in your cast and they've got a thing. And so I like to think of it as a very organic process that grows. It just grows and it gets better and always under this tutelage, this leadership, really. But what you were talking about is now we've filmed it all and we're in the editing room and it's funny and we know we've cast it right. Jeff, to your point, I would say this is one of the casting on this show was flawless, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Flawless. Like everybody was brilliant and everyone. And we were in the editing room and I remember, and it was funny, which was helpful. It was very funny. And that music, those stings we did, which were brilliant again. But those interstitials came out of that long process. Remember, we knew we needed something and it wasn't established or shots. And so when I watched the first episode last night, how wonderful that little thing of who's going to be on the throne, and it was just, it was terrific. Anyway, that came out of literally, we've shot it, we're in the editing room, and what else can we do?
To give it that energy.
And look at the colors. I mean, the colors of the show, it was everything about it sort of made you sort of feel good and it all worked together, in a way, the color, like look at our t-shirts.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, we tried to emulate that back here a little bit.
Yes. So anyway, look, we as a company, we've been around 35 years now. And, this for us this show was a really, really important show in establishing Shaftesbury in the global market, because we had a hit show, not in Canada, but a hit show on Disney when it wasn't even a Disney original. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was really, And again, I throw that to Daphne and Jeff and the cast, and I throw it to Agnes for supporting us. That's how it all came to be.
We were just lucky that Disney came in. They weren't in from the beginning.
No, they
It was
weren't.
after the first season,
Yeah.
and they were open to input to a show from Canada, and they joined in, and they were actually amazing. Their comments were good. They were working with us.
Yeah, I would say, look, when you can find a partner like that who just makes the show better, because what happens is, as filmmakers, you get really close to the material. And what you need are people who support you, but are a bit outside. So every once in a while you could get a note, an idea, and you go, wow, I hadn't thought of that. That is a really great note. And that Disney did that to us, I think.
And I was experienced enough at that point that I wasn't threatened by notes, but I was thrilled when we got good notes.
Yeah.
Like then then you're just lucky.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And
That's
then
awesome.
notes are just like, you can't say fart 4 times an episode.
Right.
I love that note. It's so funny.
Yeah, we're so glad that Disney Channel worked with you guys like that, and we got to see it here in the States. It's amazing. I think it's a great story of how Life Dare came to be.
Yeah, we were wondering about the blue screens and how they came about. How it came about. We do call them blue screens in the fandom. We just call them blue screens.
Yeah, we don't know what you guys, if you have a name for them.
Well, the blue screens were just one of the many things I remember saying to Daphne, why are we doing this? That's not going to work. And I will say, that's why you never listen to Jeff. At the very beginning of the show, when I was just a writer and Daphne was nice enough to share some of the casting tapes early on, and we can say this now because I've said this to Michael and Ashley over the years. I remember seeing Michael, and I'm like, oh no, he's totally wrong. Because I had just worked with him on a show where he played this sort of nerdy guy, and he had haircut and glass on string things.
Yes, exactly.
And I was like, that kid he's not cool. And I'm like, but Noah Reed, that guy is hilarious, huge. And Ashley Leggat, I'd worked with her on a show called Ace Landing. I don't know. I think Kate Todd is more. And Daphne's like, okay, Jeff. Yeah, you're wrong. And I'm like, okay, good luck. And then the second thing, I remember being in Newfoundland on set, and I was sitting there, and I didn't say this to Daphne because she was very, very busy. And I remember thinking, each character, they're saying it wrong. This is not how it's supposed to sound. It sounds too real. They're talking like a real family. Doesn't sound like a sitcom. They're not singing their lines. They don't know the rhythms. This is going to be the biggest disaster I've ever had in my career.
You thought that?
Completely. I asked my wife. There used to be a credit called when you wanted to take your name off the credits, you would put Alan Smithy, and I'm like, maybe I'll have that. I thought this was going to be it.
Oh my God.
And then the show becomes, and then cut to like 2 years later, I'm wearing my Life with Derek jacket I'm on vacation in Florida, and like people are like, that's the greatest show on Disney Channel. And I'm just like, yeah, I always knew that. So I get to tell that story and know that nobody knows anything. But I will say, people on this call were like, okay, Jeff, you just go back in that little hole and write the funny jokes because you clearly don't know anything. And again, over the years, I think what's so special about it is all those things. The characters were playing it real. They weren't trying to go for the laughs. And I think in life, we all realize things are funnier when you play it straight, when you play it real. And those characters, sometimes behind the scenes, those actors loved each other, and like a real family. Sometimes they wanted to kill each other. It all felt very real and organic, I would say.
Wow.
But we were lucky too, I think, because there was this brief moment in time, partly thanks to Family Channel as well, that you could write real characters and make them funny. And soon after that, when it was like more high concept, you need a wizard, you need much higher concept, and this was very low concept. And I think for some reason we got to do it, and we got stories from our own lives, from growing up, my daughter collecting her scabs gets in a script.
That's amazing.
I love that.
I think it's also, one of the things I remember over the years when like Jeff says, people would know that I produced Life with Derek, and how many parents at the time said, this is a show I can actually it's a kid's show, but I can sit down and watch it. And there was I last night watching a couple episodes and really relating to George and Nora. They were, you know what I mean? And so I think there is a true, real feeling of authenticity. This is you know what I mean? And so, I mean, I think that's one of the magic is that this isn't just a kid's show.
Right,
it
right.
was a family show, and you could sit down. Agnes, I don't know,
I want to just say, as you're saying this, I just want to point out something, especially because, this was a Canadian production. And to Christina's point about, even though we're an investor, I mean, it's a different scale when you think about how we bring shows together. But the biggest thing is that writing a sitcom is really, really, really difficult. And it's and having and we don't see, and by the way, even with our funding, we didn't get to see very many of them because they're really hard to do, and it's hard from writing from a success story. And one of the things about Life with Derek that was so exciting for us is that, if in my opinion, you guys knocked it out of the park. I mean, it just when it came, the first season and how the characters came together and it was really funny. And to your point, Christina, it's like you could sit down and watch it with everyone. And we were really proud of it because we knew it's like multicam wasn't even something in kids that we did in Canada. And, having to even see, by the way, I did like that there was no laugh track and sweetening too. It made it, I really love the music and the authenticity, to your point about the authenticity in the story. So just saying from our perspective, just looking at being even to pull it off for like a teen sitcom that resonated it was incredible what this team did. And we were really just very proud to be part of it.
Well, as writers, we also had the fortune, we knew when we were coming up with the stories, something was important to Daphne, was like every story had to be from what's Casey's perspective and what's Derek's perspective. And once you have that, and that is so many series succeed or failed, it's, and this I think is 20 years later, it's still the same thing. Every show needs an engine, and the engine of that show was, what is Casey going to think about what's going on, even if it's going on with Edwin? What's Derek going to think what's going on? We wrote an episode about where Edwin was getting bullied, but really that was still about, okay, obviously it's how it impacts, the person who's dealing with it, but also people around them, how they react, how they behave. And so seeing, we knew that we always had, as writers, we had such it wasn't even a crutch. It was like, oh yeah, we know we're going to do this. Casey's going to think this, and Derek's going to think this. And whatever, we didn't have any preconceived notions of what they would think, and that might change, but they would have different perspectives. And as writers,
Jeff, that was the initial Bible. It was like if Casey's tidy, Derek's messy. If Casey's for good causes, Derek's all about number one. If Casey's into reading all the time, Derek's into hockey. So it's what you said, Jeff. Every storyline would have Casey and Derek would have differing perspectives.
Yeah. So then it's like, that's the comedy, that's the conflict, that's the comedy. So if you ever want to write a television series or a web series, or any kind of series, create that conflict.
Create conflict, guys.
That's where comedy comes from. Me and Daphne yelling at each other in a writing room. It was hilarious, right? We never hated each other. Yeah. Maybe she hated me, so I don't know. But it's that kind of real. And so I think that's. And so I remember saying to Daphne, we should keep, we should have never have stopped. There's countless stories, and I think that is part of the reason why the attraction and the desire to keep rebooting it is because I think the dynamics of these characters at each stage of their life I want to see them. What would they be like? We wanted to see that in their 20s. We almost did. We saw that. We got a glimpse of it in their. Are we allowed to say they're in their 40s or late 30s? I'm so old, I don't know what anyone younger than 50. I don't know. But I think it is still that contrast between them. And again, they're such wonderful performers that, people just want to watch them. I mean, that's the best part.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's nice what you said about the comedy, Agnes, because I was rereading a script today and I was like, wow, we've got a lot of jokes in here. And I'm going to give the credit to that to Jeff, because I'm funny. Like, I come up with funny ideas. But I don't write, I'm not a very good joke writer. And Jeff, right at the beginning, we barely knew each other. He'd start rewriting my scenes. I'd be like thinking it was perfect. And then he'd be like, cut, 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 cut. And then he'd hit the button here, and then he'd add this. And then suddenly they were tight, right? And they moved. And so yeah, the fact that it worked as a sitcom was because, someone who had a lot of background in sitcom was working together with me.
Awesome. That's great.
I love that.
We don't want to wrap you guys up too much longer, but we watched The Room before we had you guys on. The beginning of it all, the reason we're celebrating today.
Yes.
And just if there's anything you want us to tell us about that specific episode, or like any of the first couple episodes that like maybe the fans don't know, like any kind of little tidbits or anything.
I mean, you asked us that question. I was trying to think of when any conflict or anything. And in the fourth season, there was an episode called Truman's Last Chance. Mm. And it was kind of one of the more adult episodes, like a little bit more, we're moving into teen category, right? Like now that, the teen shows are so big, but Ashley's going out with this guy named Truman, and he's a little suspect, like he's a little smooth. And then he ends up kissing her cousin at a party. And so it was darker than, and Ashley came to me. I think Michael told her to come to me and said, I think this is too much. Like, this is like too, and I think we rewrote it, Jeff. Tell me if you're right. We made it so that she did kiss him, but, it was, she kissed him. He didn't really, it wasn't like, we softened it because Ashley was really uncomfortable with it. Do you remember that, Jeff?
I 100% do not. No, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like, Truman Last Chance. I remember the show. I remember Joe Dinical, a very good actor. I remember there being drama, and I remember probably hiding in my office because it sounded like grown-up speak. No, I actually, it does ring a bell, and I'm not being dismissive. I do remember there being serious conversations, and I think at that time I was like, you know what? Like, it was interesting to see the actors, they knew their characters as much as we did. And if something didn't feel right, they were going to tell us. That is one. And that went from everything from, like, I remember one year by season 4, like, I thought I was a cool hip 20 something. And then by the time, then I was a less hip 30 something. And Michael Zeter's like, the kids don't say that anymore.
They don't say that anymore.
And I'm like, what? And like, I'm like, what? I don't even know. Swizzle? Is that what you're talking? We're saying swizzle now. And so I don't know. And I think I'm probably Christina would say, just it needs to be timeless. These things, fads come and go. But we would. It's a privilege to see actors take ownership, and you only get that when you have a certain number of episodes. And for a Canadian show to get this many episodes, you don't get the chance. And they got the chance. I mean, when I met Daniel Magder, he was taking bar mitzvah lessons. He was 15, and by the time he finished it, he was man, deciding what to do with his life. Mm. So it's like that arc of you watch these people grow. It was, again, I wish I could go back to my younger self and say, hey, you dummy, this doesn't come along on every show. Soak it in. Stop obsessing over episode 54. The 9th rewrite. Enjoy it. And I think we did, but again, it's so nice to be able to do this and look back like this. It's really special. And of course, none of this would have happened, especially you two in particular.
Yes.
Obsessed, crazy fans. It's amazing.
We are.
And we were. It was bright.
Yeah, it's the best. We all love it. Don't anyone, it's writers, producers, broadcasters, funders. This is their dream. And, it's amazing to like, this is.
Well, I'd like to ask a question of you two.
Sure.
So, what is it about our show that you love so much? And that you're still liking the show and wanting to talk about 20 years on,
Yeah.
just to say, like, what is it? That doesn't happen every day, just so you know.
It
So
doesn't.
I'm, as a producer, really curious if you could you talk a little bit.
Sure.
Well, back in the day, like, I mean, we watched the show when it was on the air, and we just love Derek and Casey's dynamic. We think just like you guys said, like the cast is perfect. It's perfect casting. It's one of the funniest shows. Like
yes, and it still holds up so well.
It does.
For me, like I think, but I mean, over the years, like we definitely were very much into the show back in the day, and then of course with Life with Luca coming out.
Kind of resurged us.
Kind of resurged us.
Yeah.
we awoken out of our hibernation.
Yeah.
And then kind of just we actually like kind of didn't really speak to each other a lot in like a few years. And but we've always been very good friends. But we met through Life with Derek, of course. And so it's just I think
it's just always there for us.
It's just always there for us, and it is endlessly inspiring and motivating creatively for us. Like it's just the playground of the show. It just contains multitudes. I think that you can just take, you know, all of these characters and dream up immense amounts of like scenarios of them being and enjoy them.
Yeah.
So I appreciate 100% like you guys bringing these characters to life. Bringing the entire story to life and continuing on with that as you have.
Yes.
But it means a lot to us. And it's an honor talking to all of you.
Yeah, like seriously, you guys are the best. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was interesting. And I remember at the time, it was the theme song, I will say, is probably one of the best theme songs of a television show ever.
Yes,
100%. I mean, you can hear it, and once it gets in your brain, the crazy part is it doesn't go out of your brain.
Yes.
So I've been watching. I'm like, oh my god! But it really is a remarkable song. In the lyrics are remarkable. Everything about it. I mean, again, I just really, and it did take a page out of some of the great television. Like literally, I'm showing my age. Gilligan's Island. Yeah. Great theme songs, and oh my god, I mean, really,
I can tell you that when I was rewatching the episodes, I watched the opening always so I could hear the song.
Yes, we never skip the intro ever.
No, you never, because it's awesome. It is,
and we don't.
Do you know what?
Yes, we did.
I wonder, Christina, if you guys can talk a bit. I'm going to jump in from what excitement on a funder side is some of with the mall tours and the things that you did with. Did you remember those?
Oh yes,
they were like. That's a fan moment. Like I just wanted to talk about that if you could talk. I'm sorry, I'm jumping in to say, can you talk about that?
Yeah, you're fine. You take over. We'll just sit back.
Interesting that and Daphne, you doing the shout out to the fans, because here's the deal. It is only because of the fans that we continue to make a show, any show. Like if you guys don't like it and you guys don't watch it, there's no show. So once you know you have a fandom, then you as a producer, as creative people, we can't take that for granted. We can't take for granted we're just going to put the show out there. Like in my opinion, there's too much competition. There are other shows. People will have more money to promote their shows. So one of the things, Agnes, thank you for bringing that up, was we wanted to get, because we knew Derek and Casey had a particular chemistry that young people wanted to be around. And we started doing those mall tours. We again had no money. I remember we were doing them on a shoestring. And we'd go out to these malls, and it was like Beatlemania. Again, I'm showing my age, but it was
so
unbelievable. So that was just one of, and I would say, Agnes, we took a page from that for every other show that Shaftesbury's done since then. Was that worked? Was engaging with your fans, sometimes where they live, go where they live, how can you give them exclusive content beyond just the show? And I remember we had little Marnie going around doing her pretending back behind the scenes.
Oh God.
And interviewing everybody.
I remember that.
Yeah.
It was
But
awesome.
that was sort of exclusive content. We did that for the fans. That was just for the fans, and
Right.
remember that?
Yeah,
And
the whole online world.
the whole
Yeah.
online
Yeah.
world.
Everybody
I
did
think
that.
that's another reason of like the reason the fandom is so powerful is because we could tell you guys we're catering to the fans and like, the way you gave us like those little podcast episode things and, we got to see Michael and Ashley do different things every week and the whole cast and everything like it felt a lot more interactive than most shows at the time. Yeah, at the time out there. And like, and it's just like even the cast like throughout the years have like noticed the fans and everyone notices and we can tell they appreciate it and that's also another huge thing. It's just like when the people involved, they care about it as much as you do. So
Yes.
I knew it. I got to say, to hear that fills me with really joy because that says that when we go that extra distance, it's actually appreciated. Again, sometimes we're doing it out of our own pockets. We believe this is what we should be doing. No one's giving us money to do that. And so to hear that you can see that we're going that distance and that, I just got to say, reinforces why we should keep doing these things,
For sure. Yes, for sure. Please keep going forever. You're doing great. Do you have anything else you want to ask? Or?
No.
I was like, you guys did good. You guys just conversed right into all our questions and answered them all for us. So.
We all talk a lot, but
we love it.
I mean,
I haven't mentioned how amazing Ashley and Michael are.
Enough.
Ashley and Michael are the heart and soul of this, and we, and they love their fans. They are really best friends, and we couldn't have gotten luckier with them.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I love them. I was gonna say, just I have one more question, and I don't know if anyone can talk about it, but the question we have on here,
and it's a question throughout the fandom, by the way, not just ours.
We have many people wanting to know about this, but if there's anything anyone can say about the Life with Derek Again plot, that would be
the
great.
show that didn't come to be.
So I was trying because Iain, who works with me, gave me the question, and for the last 48 hours, I was like, because we're talking 20 years.
Yeah,
it's a lot of time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I just in sitting here, I know now. I think exactly what it was. So Life with Derek, and Jeff and Daphne jump in, okay, if I got this wrong. But the show was over. It was over. We'd done our 5 seasons or whatever we'd done, and we'd done Vacation with Derek movie. But between Disney and Family Channel, there was no more money for the show, and that was the end of it. Even though I would say countries around the world wanted it.
Yeah, we had more stories, but
you had more stories. Like this show could have gone 10 years easily. And so I remember we decided we would fund a script. Do you remember? And we, in our old office, I can see us all doing a table read of this new script for the new show. And Jordan took a photo of it and she put it out there. And I think suddenly there was the chatter that there was a show coming.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened.
There was multiple people that.
Yeah, actually, like multiple people were posting pictures that they were all doing like a table read thing. Yeah, we don't want just Jordy to get in trouble.
I think, and Christina can correct me if I'm wrong here, I think part of the problem is we would have had them be older and they would have been into teens and that's a different target audience. And at the time, because we developed something for television, but it's kind of like there wasn't really a family time slot that catered to more teens. Like now there is, you know, on Netflix and stuff, but then there was no time slot. So if you got older than a kids channel, there was no show. And that's what we would have there were so many great teen stories that I love to do. Do you think that's what it was, Christina?
I think so. I think there might have also been a world where, and again, I mean, we're going back. I mean, now the power of social media. I mean, look what you're doing. You're doing a live, right?
Yeah.
12 hours. But back then, I mean, the power of social media to galvanize was not there.
True.
So I think now, again, it's all flooding back. I think there was a part of me and maybe us that thought maybe we could build a momentum. If we built it, like we could find ourselves, enough slot or something, which in the end, it didn't happen. There was a slot and Disney didn't want a teen show at that point.
No.
And Family Channel, you know what I mean? I don't know where they were in the Degrassi. I think Degrassi was out there, but that was much older than we would have and much more mature than we were going to do. But I now can remember, because it suddenly was out there. There was the cover of the script, and we found out it was Jordan. That Jordan had taken when Jordan had started this whole thing. But
I have the script I'm staring at the script. We wrote it in 2012. I have it.
2012. So
2012. We had it in development with a network in Canada. We did have it in development with CTV, it was going to be a primetime version. They did, and they this was going to be on time.
I remember sitting with the president of Bell. And his kids loved it. He was an American at the time. It was American president. His kids loved Life in Dark. I said, super. We will make you a new life. It's all coming back, Jeff. That's exactly.
And the show started. This first scene of the show began. I'll give you a little tease with Casey and Derek in bed together.
We do remember that being thrown around.
Now, not.
No, we know.
They both
in a jokey fashion.
Of course.
In a jokey fashion.
We know.
I know. Christina's like,
Yes, they didn't. They both had returned home. Derek had been traveling the world. He had snuck back into his parents' house without telling them they're living in the basement. Casey was visiting home, about to announce her engagement. So she goes into the basement just to go to sleep, jumps into bed, and is surprised to find
That's insane.
Derek sleeping next to her.
Jeff, you have literally just saved everyone's life. Like, people have been asking this since the beginning, and it's crazy.
Since 2012.
And I will say, in looking at the script, is I can say with no humility because I wrote it with that. It's freaking hilarious. It has them drinking because that Daphne wanted them to be doing things that were age appropriate. And I would say, on the one hand, while I think it would have been a fantastic show, there is an element of, do you want to see these characters do that? It's in some ways it's your childhood.
Grow up.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. We want them to grow up.
Yes, I have to keep saying
Yeah,
that.
grow up. Oh, no, not that, but you want to see them grow up. And I think that for us, I think as much as the script was wonderful and funny, we would have done it. It was challenging to see these characters be more real. And at the time, what was real to audiences in 2012 was different than what was real in 2004. And we would have had to go there with these characters, Marty having teen angst and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, there is a script. I'm staring at it. It's freaking hilarious. We spent a lot of time on it. We had a great time writing the pilot, and then we really struggled to write the second episode.
Oh, interesting.
We did. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for solving that.
Oh my gosh.
The mystery solved. And I have it here. It's for sale. It's
How much?
We'll DM you.
What kind of
Don't forget, I'm an investor.
Yes.
Don't forget, Rocket Fund's an investor.
That sounds great.
We'll split it for who's ever in this cube. We'll fix it.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys
for
so much. This has been amazing.
Yes.
This is better than we could have asked for. And so happy you could do today.
Thank you.
Lovely speaking to you.
Yes, lovely to meet you all. Yes, quite an honor.
So nice to see everybody. Nice to meet you both.
Happy 20 years
Thank
of living
you.
there.
Yes, happy 20 years, you guys.
Thank you.
We'll do this in 20 years.
Yes, another 20
Yes,
years.
we'll see you there for sure.
And thanks for including a funder. I don't get to do this very
Of
often.
course, we were so
I'm
happy.
excited to be here.
We're so happy
so
to have
excited.
you. That's amazing. Thank you guys
So excited.
so much. We hope you have a great day and enjoy your anniversary.
Yes. Thank you.
Happy anniversary, everybody.
Well, everyone.
Happy anniversary.
Bye, Ryan.